Hello, good morning everyone, and welcome to this webinar from on-prem to cloud, hybrid cloud strategy for IT managers. So today's agenda. First of all, we are going to introduce the speaker for this webinar. Then we are going to cover Cubbit, introduce Cubbit, the first European geo-distributed cloud solution. Then we're going to talk about Tiger Technology and more precisely Tiger Bridge, our flagship product. Then we're going to have a live demo presenting the best practices and providing advices against the ransomware protection with Cubbit and Tiger Bridge joint solution. And finally, we're going to end the session with a Q&A. So feel free to ask any question during the webinar. We'll be pleased to answer the question at the end of the session. So I'm happy to introduce Richard Zeck, Chief Revenue Officer at Cubbit. Jean-Michel Carré, Technology Sales EMEA at Cubbit. And finally, myself, Brini, Sales Channel Manager at Tiger Technology. So at this point, Richard, I give you the floor.
Thank you very much, Kais. So I'm Richard Zeck, Chief Revenue Officer for Cubbit, the first European Geo-distributed cloud enabler. It's a real pleasure for me to be with you, but I already know one thing about you. I'm sure that none of you is using a floppy disk anymore. This is the same reason why we are here today. It does not make any sense to limit the cloud to a centralized logic only. What you get now on the cloud is just some space in a rack of a specific data center owned by somebody else who is the one making the rules. The connection to that data center, if ever the connection to that data center goes offline, for any reason, you lose access to your data. We are here today because the real power of the cloud is when you use it all, anywhere. This is what you can do with Cubbit, the geo-distributed cloud. Before diving into the technology, let me give you some company background. Cubbit has been created in 2016 in Italy, and we have a team of 54 employees where most of them are brilliant engineers in the cloud tech space. As of today, we are very proud to count more than 5,000 customers, including 120 large enterprises. We are an active member of Gaia-X and certified ISO 9001, 27001. Our technology is revolutionizing the cloud, and we have been recognized as one of Europe's top innovators in deep tech. There are also exciting news from our hand. We have successfully raised over $13 million backed by prestigious investors like Primo Ventures and Techstars, but that's not all. We have also secured funding from the European Union and built a partnership with one of the largest research organizations in the world. Among our most prestigious enterprise clients is Leonardo. This is a key player in the global defense sector, highlighting our growing impact in Europe and beyond. So what is all our technology about, and what is DS3? DS3 stands for Distributed S3, meaning that we are 100% compatible with Amazon S3, and we can use it natively with thousands of applications you already work with, like Tiger Technology that we will be showing today, Rubrik, or any backup application. With Cubbit DS3, you can either use the Cubbit public storage deployments that we are providing, or eventually build your own private cloud storage services in minutes by using your own infrastructure. So now, let's see how it works behind the scene and where the magic happens. When you upload data on DS3, first of all, it gets encrypted with a military-grade algorithm. The customer can decide to manage its own keys. So this can make Cubbit a zero-knowledge S3 system. The encrypted data gets fragmented into many chunks, let's say 20. Now we reinforce redundancy on these chunks to make them become even more, let's say 33 pieces. So your data is divided into 33 encrypted shards or pieces, which can be stored across various independent nodes. We have the flexibility to position these nodes throughout Europe, or especially in France, or in a country, in Germany, in UK, whatever you want. This design allows for high tolerance to lost connections while ensuring you can still access your data. But one of the key questions is why choosing Cubbit? Our innovative system stores your data across multiple European nodes, offering very high level of control and security. With Cubbit, you are not just storing data, you are embracing the essence of GDPR, ensuring data privacy and independence. For the tech teams, it's all about the hyper resilience. Our system offers a built in region cloud, saving them the hassle of creating backups and replica. We handle everything, ensuring data security seamlessly. And when it comes to cybersecurity, consider ransomware threats. With Cubbit, your data is not only protected by object lock or versioning, but it's also never fully stored in one location. This means that even if a node is compromised, what's accessed in just a small encrypted fragment of data, rendering it useless for malicious purposes. That's peace of mind for our users. Then Cubbit Geo-distributed cloud gives you the best return on investment. It's always a question about money. To get the same resiliency, control, and performance that Cubbit gives you, you would spend up to 80% more on hyperscalers. According to the use case, budget-wise, Cubbit is a no-brainer. Finally, we optimize and reuse existing resources like underutilized servers. It has all the significant impact on sustainability. Cubbit DS3 stands for its commitment to provide unmatched security for its customers. In this system, only the user has access to their stored data, along with the exclusive keys for encryption and decryption, ensuring unparalleled security and control. Upon ingestion, data is encrypted, segmented into chunks with parity, and distributed across the network. This ensures that only the user holding the encryption keys has the ability to access their data, guaranteeing maximum security and privacy. Cubbit DS3 is also proud to be certified ISO 27001 and ISO 9001. You can download the certificates from our website, along other certifications. It meets also all the key GDPR compliance standards, ensuring top-notch security and quality. Cubbit DS3 integrates seamlessly with object lock and versioning S3 APIs. This compatibility allows users to safeguard their data against any unauthorized alterations, ensuring enhanced security and data integrity. And at the end, Cubbit DS3 offers full compatibility with Amazon S3, which is the protocol, the industry standard API. It includes comprehensive features like EIM management or policy management with years of friendly results. We support for project. We have multi-tenancy support. We have a robust object lock support, versioning, lifecycle. We enhance the security and efficiency through the different S3 capabilities. Cubbit regions are available in different countries, and the list of new countries will grow very fast in 2024. For now, we have distributed storage regions in Italy, France, Germany, and UK, and other regions will come very soon in 2024. So now let's try to understand the benefits. I mean, how this works. Let's compare cost using a hybrid cloud file system having 100 terabytes of usable data across 3 cities within the same region. And we talk about the hybrid file system with Tiger. With traditional centralized cloud storage, you would need 3 copies of the data in 3 locations, costing you about 300 terabytes of data for just 100 terabytes of usable data. Cubbit, on the other hand, only charges for 100 terabytes of data, offering significant savings. Centralized systems may also charge for data deletions with a 90-day retention fee, which Cubbit does not. Additionally, managing three separated buckets in a centralized system adds complexity and requires ongoing monitoring. So Cubbit simplifies this with a simple bucket system. You just have one bucket that distributes the data across locations automatically. In a centralized setup, a single location failure can lead to immediate data access loss, requiring manual intervention and time-consuming recovery. With Cubbit, even if one location fails, your data remains accessible without any manual intervention, thanks to its resilient RAID-like system design in the cloud. This resilience is crucial for hybrid cloud file system, ensuring your data is always online and accessible. To illustrate the power of Cubbit, combined with a very innovative hybrid cloud file system, let me introduce you to Jean-Michel Carré, who will present you Tiger Technology, our preferred technology vendor in the file system space. Jean-Michel?
Okay, thank you very much, Richard. I'm Jean-Michel Carré. I work with Richard at Cubbit, and I'm responsible for technology sales and looking after technology partners. And I would like to thank Kais for helping me to put together this presentation about the Tiger Technology integration with Cubbit. Just a few words about Tiger Technology. This is a European company headquartered in Bulgaria, almost 20 years, 60 employees, more than 100 petabytes of data under management for 1,000 customers. And always, this company has always been specializing in managing data, and their flagship product now became a product which name is Tiger Bridge. Tiger Bridge is a software-only solution which is going to extend to a global namespace, the local data which are stored either on a Windows file server or on the NAS file share. So it works with NTFS, NAS, SMB, NFS as a source, and we support all of the native Windows OS functionalities, either running on a physical server or on a virtual server. Data security and integrity is preserved. About security, the metadata will be also stored in the cloud. So when data are migrated from local storage to the cloud, the NTFS permission, they will be preserved as well. GDPR compliance is de facto as long as the customer stores the data in Europe, and we can interoperate with the different existing systems. And Tiger Bridge does not change anything on the layout of the file system. So it means you remove Tiger Bridge, you still have access to your data. The most frequently found use cases of Tiger Bridge are, number one, capacity expansion. We all know, or maybe some of you in the call are customers who are currently struggling to manage your unstructured data because they are continuously growing. And the only solution if you don't have access to Tiger Bridge technology is to continue to buy new additional hardware capacity. Instead, with Tiger Bridge, we are going to move the data to the cloud to keep the most active or the most recently used data local on the storage. And for the data which will be in the cloud, there will be a transparent access through the usual tools for the user. So there is no change from a user perspective when you put Tiger Bridge into the configuration. Disaster recovery is a de facto feature because as long as the data are replicated in the cloud, the data, they are safely stored in the cloud. All of the cloud providers support at least 11 nines of data durability. Cubbit is delivering more than 11 nines. So if your server fails, you bring a new server, you apply the same configuration, and you retrieve your data. And last but not least, today is more and more companies are being deployed on different locations, which sometimes can be in different countries, but the users, they work on the same set of data. And with Tiger Bridge, they can access to the shared storage via the cloud without having complex remote disks configuration with VPN configuration and other technical requirements. Customer profile, we have a large scope of customers, SMBs, large enterprises. We have a lot of customers who are engineering and construction companies, media entertainment, oil and gas, a lot of customers who simply have to find a way to manage their storage capacity without deleting the unstructured data. Tiger Bridge is the product they choose. A little bit of technical information. When you install Tiger Bridge, it is installed on a Windows machine. Being installed on the Windows machine, it even does not need to reboot the system, and then you configure a file share, which can either be on the local storage or maybe on the NAS, as shown on the picture. And you associate this folder with a bucket in the cloud. So in Cubbit, you will have previously defined a bucket which will be assigned to the Tiger Bridge configuration. And once this relationship is built, the system, the Tiger Bridge system, will start replicating the local data to the cloud storage. So there is a second copy of your data in the cloud, so they are safely protected in the cloud. And then you can also configure space reclamation. Space reclamation will delete the file content on the local storage, but will keep a pointer. It's usually referred as a stub in this technology. So for the user, they have the feeling that all of the data, they are still local. I will show you in the demonstration. And if the data is in the cloud, by double-clicking on the stub, the data will be automatically retrieved from the cloud and brought back to the local storage. But they will be retrieved in a smart way in order to minimize the traffic on the network and to minimize the waiting time for the users. Disaster recovery, as I said, your configuration on site A here is down for some reasons, but the users, they need to work, whether this is another site, a disaster recovery site, or maybe the same site, but if you can provision a new server, Windows machine, you install Tiger Bridge, you apply the same configuration, which will point to the same Cubbit bucket, and automatically all of the pointers will be rebuilt on the local storage. So you don't have to repatriate the data. You will simply, Tiger Bridge will recreate for you all the pointers, and when the user, they double click on the file will be repatriated for the user to work on this file. Global file access. This is extremely interesting. We have a lot of customers in this scenario. You have different physical location. The users in these different locations, they are working on the same project. They share the same data set. So rather than doing complex remote drive mounting over the internet from site A to site B and site B to site A, the best is to install Tiger Bridge. All of the data will be replicated in the cloud. Each instance of Tiger Bridge will be listening to what is happening in the cloud, and they can simply detect that there is a new object which has been uploaded or created on the cloud, and the pointer will be automatically created on the other sites. In addition to that, if you use applications which are supporting object lock, like for example, Microsoft Office 365, AutoCAD, and any other computer design application, if a user on site A is working on a file, the user on site B will not be able to use the same file in read and write. In some cases, it can select to use read only, but it cannot write the data because the file is already locked. So this is a nice way to provide continuous data protection. all the data which will no longer be on the local storage, but instead which will be stored on the cloud, will not need to be backed up on a daily basis by the system. Only the most recently created data or most recently accessed data can be backed up. But in many cases, what we see is probably that 80% of the data are not accessed on a daily basis, only maybe 20%, sometimes less than that. So in terms of RTO and RPO, it is they are very short, and the customers, they can resume working as quickly as possible. The way Tiger Bridge has been implemented on the Windows system makes it very using a very limited portion of the CPU and the resources, so it's totally transparent for the users. Ransomware protection, this is a threat for everybody. With Tiger Bridge, we have two ways which can be combined to protect against ransomware. The first one is to enable versioning. If you enable versioning on Windows, and of course you enable the versioning in the cloud, when there is a ransomware attack and the file is being encrypted, that will create a new version of the file, which will be in the cloud. And in that case, the previous version is still preserved and you can revert. When a ransomware is attacking your solution, there will be a massive encryption of all of the data on the server. So every time a file is being modified, they have to be replicated to the cloud. So you can position a trigger above which Tiger Bridge will stop to communicate with the cloud, so that it will stop propagating an encrypted file into the cloud. So there will be a limited impact on the data in the cloud, and then you can revert to previous versions. So it's called fuse defense. Here in the screenshot, it shows 600 files in the queue. Is it the right value? It will depend on the number of files which are usually accessed and queued for the replication to the cloud. And Tiger Bridge offers to their customers a storage assessment report, which is a tool which gives recommendations to the customers. What is the workload which has been synced with SDeep as the system is up and running? So it can be across several years, and give recommendation that maybe only 10% of the data they access on a daily basis, and that gives you some estimate value of what would be the trigger for the ransomware detection. So I will switch to a quick demo. I will switch to my PC. Here you see I have the Tiger Bridge management tool, which is installed on my system. On the right-hand side, I have the different settings. But in order to use Tiger Bridge, the first thing I have to do first is to connect to my console on the Cubbit cloud storage. So I am already connected to my console. As you see, I have one console access, but I have created several projects. And on the different projects, I can see the different buckets which I have created. And you have the additional view if this is a bucket which is using versioning or not, or this is a bucket which is using object lock, which is used for backup operations to provide the possibility to do immutable backup. In that case, I used this Tiger to Cubbit bucket for the demonstration purposes. I can see the data which are in my bucket. And for this bucket, I enabled versioning, which will allow me to keep a certain number of versions of the file, both in the cloud and which will be accessible by the Windows system. In order to access one bucket in the S3 solutions, you have to create a pair of API keys, the access key and the secret key. So here I have created a pair of keys. I called it Tiger to Cubbit keys. I can generate a new pair of keys. You can name the keys, which is extremely useful when you manage your cloud solution. You can say demo Cubbit Tiger. Update, and you can, of course, download to save the keys, or you can simply copy and paste them, but be sure to save the secret key, otherwise you must create a new pair of keys, because when you lose the secret key, there is no way to recover the secret key. So my Cubbit is ready to be used. The Tiger 2 Cubbit bucket is ready to be used for Tiger Bridge configuration. So I go to the Tiger Bridge solution. Here I have some views about my license. I have 5 terabytes of capacity. I'm using 228 terabytes on this capacity. I am allowed to use cloud, but I can use also tape as a target, or local storage as a target, which is sometimes requested by customers. I have some general settings. So it depends on the use case. Usually that's part of the best practices. Delete replica when source file is removed. If I delete my data on the Windows system, the data will be deleted in the cloud as well. Sometimes mistakes can happen, so we have the possibility to give a grace period in order to recover the data. This is what we call the soft delete policy here on the screen. Keep replica versions, of course. I want to keep the replica version. So every time there is a new version created by Windows, there will be a new version on the cloud storage as well. Preserve security descriptor on sync that will allow to preserve all of the NTFS permissions, so that although the data is in the cloud, the NTFS permission will be preserved. And if I am not authorized to read and write, or simply to read the file, I will be rejected. Allow partial update is extremely interesting. A lot of files are pretty big. Recently, I discussed with a partner, with a project, with a customer. They want to use Cubbit, and they are using engineering data, so AutoCAD files, which are pretty big. If you want to modify just a small portion of the AutoCAD file, you can simply recall the relevant portion of the data, do your modification, and once you save the file, only the modified data will be updated to the cloud. I can show you this as well with a video. If a user has to do some minor editing on the large video files, today with 4K HD, 8K HD, a file can be several hundred of gigabytes of data. If I have to modify a few seconds of video, I don't have to recall the 800 gigabyte file. I will just maybe recall a few 100 megabytes, maybe less, do my job, save the file, and that's it. I didn't check enable progressive retrieval. Otherwise, every time I click on a very large file, in the background, Tiger Bridge will bring all of the rest of the file on the local storage, which is, in most cases, not the best practice. I configured enable ransomware protection for 600 files. I can change it if I want to. And I log everything. Everything is logged on the Windows log. There are some global parameters about replication policy, reclaim space policy, soft delete policy, but I can decide also to change these parameters for each and every folder I want to manage. Here I am using my folder Tiger to Cubbit. And if I go to my Tiger to Cubbit folder, here I see when I browse the files that the Tiger Bridge to Cubbit folder, the icon has been changed. So this is indicating that this folder is managed by Tiger Technology, Tiger Bridge. And here you see that the icons for the files and the folders is a little bit different. And there are, in fact, additional information. When it is green, it means that the data is both local and in the cloud. If I right-click on properties for this file, I can see it's 68 kilobytes and 68 kilobytes on the local storage. This one is pretty big. This is a zip file, 4.7 gigabytes, sorry. And this file has 0 byte on the local storage and 4.75 gigabytes on data of the cloud. This is a zip file. For a zip file, in order to rebuild the content of the zip file, the zip process is going to read the beginning of the file and then jump to the end of the zip file in order to rebuild it. So, for example, in that case, if I double-click on my zip file, I already have the full content of my zip. Why? Simply because Tiger Bridge is smart enough to understand what zip is doing. So we started by reading the beginning of the file and then by reading the end of the file. So I want to restore, in that case, it seems to be pictures. If I want to restore one file from the zip file, I don't have to bring the 5 gigabytes of data back on the local storage. And for the moment, if I check the properties, I only recalled 128 kilobytes of data on my local storage. So, Tiger to Cubbit, I configured the target as S3 compatible because Cubbit is an S3 compatible storage solution. The URL, the endpoint to access my Cubbit account in my particular setup is s3.cubbit.eu. Depending on Cubbit is being configured, depending on the swarm that the customer will use, because we have a swarm in France, in Germany, in Italy, in the UK, and we will open new swarms soon. The URL will be different. And then you specify the access key and the secret key. The access key and secret key I specified at the project level, so I can see all of the buckets in my account. I can also create more specific access key and secret key, which would be allowing me to access only the specific bucket. And then I specify this parameter. I don't want to use the default parameters, the global parameters. I specify replication policy. Here, this is for demo purposes. After 4 seconds, data which has been either created or modified, the data will be replicated to the cloud. In some cases, I can set it to a longer period, but here in that case, it is 4 seconds. Space reclamation policy, again, this is for demo purposes. After 4 minutes, if a new file has been created, replicated after 4 seconds to the cloud, after 4 minutes, if the file has not been accessed and the file is larger than 1 megabyte, I will do space reclamation. Space reclamation, this is what we see here when there is the blue icon next to a file. If I right-click on this video file, again, it's blue, 0 byte on the local storage, 279 megabyte on the cloud. So, reclaim space policy. A versioning policy, I want to be protected by ransomware. I want to give the possibility to my users to roll back to a previous version of the data. And I can define how many versions I want to keep. I can keep versions by age. For example, all of the versions which are older than 1 week, for example, yeah, we can go up to the week. I will keep them, and the ones which are older than 1 week, I will delete them. Here I decided to use only 4 versions. So when there is a 5th version of the file which is created, the oldest one will be deleted on the cloud storage. This is interesting because you know all that cloud storage are charging by the capacity. If you have multiple versions of the files, you will be charged for the multiple capacity of the file. Soft delete policy. If by mistake I delete a file, I still have 2 days, but I can set a longer or shorter period. I give 2 days to the user to revert and to restore a deleted file. Here there is the synchronization. Synchronization is used because in my configuration, I have another server which is sharing the same data. And so the synchronization every 4 seconds is querying the Cubbit cloud storage and collect information about new objects created in the bucket. If there is a new object or new objects which have been created in the past 4 seconds, a pointer, a stub, will be automatically created on the other systems. Of course, on my second system, I have a similar configuration in order to have the same behavior between site A and B than you may have between site B and A in terms of synchronization, replication policy, reclaim space policy, versioning, and soft delete policy. If I return to my Cubbit folder, I can, for example, I was talking about video. When I play a video, the system is going to recall the data. But my job, this is a pretty short video, my job is not to go at the beginning of the video, but I have been asked to do some modifications, for example, at the end of the presentation. Okay, here, for example, I have to modify to hide this logo. Not in that case, this is a bad example because this is the Cubbit logo, but I can do some modification. I will not hide this guy because he's our beloved co-CEO, but I do my job, I save the file, and as I have been configuring my Tiger Bridge solution to allow partial update, I just push to the cloud the small portion of data which I've been recalling to do my editing activity. So I just recall 23 megabytes out of the 134 megabytes of data, and I will just re-upload 23 megabytes. So this is a huge productivity improvement for the user because the user can position himself to the right place on this video file. That could be the same if this is an AutoCAD document, AutoCAD project, and I do my work, so I don't have to wait for the first 120 megabytes of data to finally reach the 121 megabytes of data to start doing my job. I will not pollute my internet bandwidth while I'm recalling data and re-uploading data. I just do the necessary data transfer, but I do not pollute my other users and efficiency on my internet connection by bringing back and forth data which I'm not going to use. And lastly, but this is not the case as Richard mentioned, and this is extremely interesting with Cubbit, we do not charge for egress, we do not charge for early data deletion, but some other customers who made the choice to work with cloud providers which are charging for egress, they're happy to have some nice features with the Tiger Bridge. Here I am going to open a Windows Word document. Okay, and remember I told you when there is a multi-site synchronization, the file is locked by Windows, but the fact that the file is locked by Windows, this is also transferred to the cloud. So my other system, which is part of the same Tiger Bridge configuration, will see that the file is locked. If he doesn't see, the user doesn't see that the file is locked, when he wants to open the file, he will get a warning. The file is already locked. Please come back later or open it in read. Okay, and I can save the file on my system, and that will create a new version of the data. And the file is unlocked. Now it is saved. It is both local and in the cloud. If I would like to, for some reasons, because the file is pretty small, it's only 19 kilobytes, I can, however, by right-clicking on the file, I have access to additional options with Tiger Bridge. In that case, I can say reclaim space. By doing reclaim space, the file will be 100% in the cloud. I want to work on this document, Tiger Bridge integration, because I have to do the last chapter. So I open the file. You see that the file is being recalled. My goodness, I cannot access the data. The file has been encrypted by the ransomware. So it is impossible for me to access my data. No panic. I simply close the file. I right-click on this document, properties. I go to versions, and I see that, remember, I limit to 4 versions. I have 3 previous versions. So the other one is from yesterday or the one before. I restore this file, successfully restored. And now if I open my Word document, yes, I retrieve my valid data. So that's the way that you can protect yourself against a ransomware attack. If there was a real ransomware attack on my system, first of all, probably there will be more than 600 files in the queue. So Tiger Bridge would have been put in pause mode. Here it is running. I can manually pause it, but with the ransomware protection, it has been paused by the ransomware protection settings. And then I have a minimum of files, maybe 0 files, which have been replicated to the cloud, and I can quickly recover with my solution. I am done for the demonstration. I recommend that you go to Tiger Bridge to have more information to set up the solution. There will be a published soon. We're currently reviewing the final content. We have on the Cubbit website an extensive knowledge base about the different solutions with which we integrate. If you go to cubbit.io, you go to docs, and you have the list of the different integration with which we've been doing work, Vim, CyberDuck. So soon you will see another entry for Tiger Bridge technology. So we describe exactly the main steps to implement the combined solution, the third-party solution and Cubbit. But of course, the Bible and the know-how of the third-party product will come from the third-party vendors. All right, so maybe we can return to the final slides of the presentation. And now it's time to maybe look at the...
So thank you very much, Jean-Michel and Richard, for this presentation. I hope it was very useful for you. I just want to remind you that you are invited and you are pleased to ask any question you have about Cubbit and related to Tiger Bridge. We'll be happy to answer. Maybe what I can also add is, because we often have this question, is how Tiger Bridge is charging the customers. So we are charging the capacity that is under Tiger Bridge management, right? So when you connect your server to Tiger Bridge, we will handle the capacity that will be charged, and we can charge it with a pay-as-you-go model. So you'll be charged monthly based on what you use, or you can also choose to purchase a reserved capacity, and you will benefit from discounts. We are a European company, so if you visit our website, you will have the price list in dollar, but I just want to remind you that we are able to charge in euro, obviously. And if you, how to purchase, I mean, we are selling through the channel. So we have we already have built, and we are still building a strong network of channel partners that can address the request of end users. We also recently signed a distribution agreement with Miel covering France, and we are on the process to sign with new distributors, especially in Italy and also Benelux region. So at this point, this is what I wanted to add. Do you have any question here? No. So you can start a trial at any time, either a Cubbit trial. So you have the link here and you have the QR code. Feel free to use it. You can also start a trial license with Tiger Bridge. It's a promotional or punctual, let's say, trial version. So you will have 3 months for free with 1 terabyte capacity if you use this link that is shared in this screen.
Kais, I see another question from a participant who is asking if they are based in Belgium. What do we recommend at Cubbit to use the swarm in France or in Germany? It's totally flexible, but maybe Richard, you want to have some additional information?
Yes, you can either use public cloud swarms that are available in UK, France, Germany, and Italy. But as I mentioned, Cubbit is allowing you to build your own swarm. So if you have an existing infrastructure, let's say, you can build with our DS3 Composer product your own S3 cloud service by reusing your infrastructure. So in other words, if you have dispersed locations on which you are already operating your customers, from which you are already operating your customers, you can deploy nodes and create your small swarm, which can be connected with the Tiger Bridge solution. So there are many use cases where existing customers and our partners are having already a large infrastructure, and this can connect the Tiger solution to a distributed architecture.
Okay. And a question, I believe this is for you, Kais. A person is asking if they can use Tiger Bridge to replicate data to the cloud, but also to a local storage.
Yes.
Yes, but
yes, it's possible. So Tiger Bridge is using S3. Obviously, we are compatible with any S3 cloud storage solution, but we are also compatible with local storage solution using S3 protocol. Yeah, definitely.
okay.
Well, I think we are running out of time. So again, thank you very much for joining this webinar. Feel free to contact us if you have any questions. And it was a pleasure for us to share this information with you.
Okay. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye.